Hey RV family, keep it time. My name is Immxrtalisatixn, the review guy, reviewing music for the love of music, and I'm back again to bring you another video. And in this one I'm going to be covering the new Scarlxrd record entitled Scarhxurs. Scarlxrd is a British rapper that burst onto the scene with his unique blending of nu metal, metalcore, trap, little bit of screamo thrown in there as well for good measure. He is super prolific, no one can put a finger on him in that regard, although artists like Bones and other SoundCloud rappers can do that. At this point, Scarlxrd is super distinct. You know a Scarlxrd track when it comes on. The very harsh, distorted 808s, the very bass-boosted type beat, his screamo delivery that's very unique, the metal influences, the abandoned buildings he films in, his whole getup, his surgical mask. Obviously, he started in Miss City as a nu metal vocalist. He did his YouTube channel Mozzie Maz, or Mozzie Maz, I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that, but he has just been releasing so much music recently. In 2019 alone, he released 3 studio-length albums, Infinity, Immortalization, and Acquired Taste Volume 1, which I have had a rocky relationship with Scarlxrd. I think one of the major things that has been preventing him from pushing his sound into a new direction is making his track listings a little bit too bloated of repetitive sound. And to some degree, Scarhxurs kind of has that same issue, but thank God, I'm really starting to see some progression. This album is 18 tracks, 45 minutes, which is a normal runtime, and to be honest, even though this does follow a Scarlxrd pattern, I think this is his best album in a while. And that just comes down to how he tweaks his style ever so slightly to cause it to sound a little bit different. Like the opener, perfect with these whirring and gigging heavy machinery, it sounds great on the beat, and even though I feel like the beat could have been turned up a little bit in volume because Scarlxrd's screams do kind of overpower it, his growls, his screams, even his regular vocals, just they overpower it a little bit. And on You've Been Cancelled, it is a hype anthem. Love his speedy flows, love the way he's alternating between a normal rap voice and his aggressive scream delivery, combined with those ad-libs lingering in the backdrop. I really gotta give it to Scarlxrd on this record for really creating something that sounds somewhat different than what you got on the trilogy that released last year, or really any of his albums. He had always dabbled in these things, he's always dabbled in regular rapping, he's always dabbled in different instrumentation, but for the most part, when you're listening to a Scarlxrd record, they sound uniform from track to track to track. It's just very, very samey. And on a track like Making a Killing, it really showcases how far his beats have gone. In the past, he would just jump over heavily distorted beats that really don't have their identity, especially in the repetition department when you're going from track to track to track. But little glitches, little rolls in the instrumentation, little changes in the percussion, these little embellishments made to the instrumentals really do give them more life than they may have had if they were just heavy. Because after a while, heavy just gets a little old on one of these records. Especially when you're packing them with so much material, which I'm fine with more material if the material is as strong as everything else is without a lull, because when you have a record that is this long as opposed to maybe being compact, it's a lot more easy to pick out tracks that do feel weak because you have something to compare them to. You have better tracks on the record, and those lulls are going to, in the long run, bog down your album, because it's going to be difficult to really say, I'd rather listen to this than the better tracks on the album. And it's good to have a cohesive album from start to finish that sounds strong on its own regard and sounds like it has some sort of logical flow and has a decent flow. I also like some of the more murky, low, dark, demented instrumentals on this record. They almost sound a little bit horrorcore inspired if horrorcore would be trap metal. Tracks like Gravestone and tracks like Ripsaw is what I'm talking about, just these very low-key, darkened instrumentals. They sound so bleak, but still so ice-cold and tenacious. It's like they're gonna rip out your throat just slowly. And combined with Scarlxrd's delivery, I was genuinely surprised with just how well this went along with him. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I am the biggest proponent of Scarlxrd, that I'm just head over heels for him, that I'm his biggest fan, but I've been following this guy for years. I've been covering his material for years. And it's albums like this, like these, that remind me of why I'm covering him. Because I genuinely see him so different than a lot of other trap metal artists, there's very few that I think stand out in the field, and Scarlxrd is, bar none, really at the top of that field for me, along with, I'd say, Zilla Kami. And in the future, I want to see Scarlxrd build upon these ideas, continue to expose the fact that he can do different styles, that he can change up his flow, that he can change up his beats, and take a little bit of time to craft these albums, because notice, I don't know if he's releasing 50,000 albums this year. I actually shouldn't say that. Just take a bit of time, take a bit of patience, take a step back, and find out why people like your music, and find out how you can improve that in the long run. But overall, I thought this was a very solid record. I'm feeling very positively about it. Of course, there are still tracks that blend into the fray that kind of just feel like Scarlxrd 101 tracks that do make me feel like even if they're short, even if they're just really in your face, really fast, and then they get the hell out of Dodge, I'm not sure if they necessarily hold up that much of a punch as they once did, because that shock factor is kind of slowly dying down a little bit, and I don't think lyrically those tracks are able to be held up. But either way, I'm going to be giving this album a 7 out of 10. And that is a wrap. Have you heard this new Scarlxrd album, Scarhxurs? If you have, let me know in the comment section below what you thought about it. I would love to discuss the record with you. Be sure to save for the end screen links to videos that you might be interested in. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to join the review family today. And smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is. My name is Immxrtalisatixn, the review guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.
Go ahead, live your best life.